I don't know how people do it without the Lord. I don't know how people navigate life, especially a football career, without a close relationship with God. And I saw guys who had escaped a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the unneeded pressure that the NFL can put on you because they had a real relationship with the Lord. I grew up in the South where, in Mississippi, growing up, my grandma would joke, you can go out Saturday night and you can hang out as long as you want, but you're getting up on Sunday. So that's just how we grew up. So it was like 6 days a week. So just say, I grew up in church. I'm like, I don't do it justice. Like, we were in some aspect of learning about the gospel or being around the Bible 6 days a week, every single week that I was growing up. So it was definitely a huge part of my life. I knew a ton about the Bible. By that point in my life, I could, if somebody said a verse or said a story, I could kind of at least map out the story for you or know, okay, that's old or that's new. So I could sound smart in discussion. But the relationship was not real at all. What I knew about the gospel had not shaped who I was as a person. It did not shape how I felt about the sin in my life. It didn't contradict my way of living. I was still 100% Lord of my life. And so it was probably about my second year in the league. I had a really good first year, played really well, and as a rookie, that's a lot coming at you. Well, when I started having a bad second year early on, finished good, but at the early part, it was bad. I had this autograph signing that I would do. It's like this Philly Expo every year. So my first year I had a line out the door. I'm talking about, it was literally out of the building wrapped around. Like, there were just so many fans that were coming to get things signed by me. Well, I had a bad start to my second year. I go to the same Philly Expo, and at that point, I might have had like 10 people show up. It rocked me at the time, because I was a very, very vulnerable person. I was just a person that I just believed everybody loved me. Like, okay, yeah, they see how hard I work and they appreciate what I bring to the team. And I started to realize that no, like, football is just almost like any other institution in the world. It's performance based. Everything man-made 100% is always going to be performance based. If you don't meet this criteria, you're out. You're done. And I had that sad revelation, as a second year player in the NFL. I was only like 23. Around the building, I just would sometimes just watch guys. I was always an observer of people and their character. And I would notice, when we were winning, there were guys who were like this. When we were losing, a lot of guys were like this. When individual guys would be injured, they'd be down here. When they were playing well, they'd be up here. And there were a couple guys that were just like this, no matter what. Whether we were winning, losing, they were injured, maybe a problem at home, coach didn't like them, undrafted, new contract, no new contract, contract dispute, didn't matter. It was like this. A couple guys, and mainly one of the guys was Trey Burton. Another guy was Chris Maragos. Nick Foles was another one. And then I started spending time around these guys. I'm like, man, what makes these guys so different? And I realized that those pages in the Word, they weren't just words on a page. Those things meant something to them. They were in their Word, and it transformed the way they looked at life. It transformed the way that they parented, the way they were as husbands. And so they were like, okay, well, we lost the game. Who cares? Yahweh's still on the throne. Like, they had this mindset that was eternally focused. And they knew that, the Savior came down and did all the work. So yeah, we're in this performance-based institution, but at the same time, I at least know I have one relationship where it doesn't matter how I perform. None of us can do it on our own. It's going to take a lot of people. It's going to take a village, and it's just going to take that constant effort, making every effort. And so I've been walking in the Spirit ever since. Like I said, there's good days, there's bad days, but at no point has my faith ever been rocked again. And I know that I have a foundation that I can stand on and a relationship that can't be taken away no matter my performance. And that's something that's very freeing. Like, a lot of people always ask me, man, Jordan, why don't you have Instagram? Why don't you? And really, I I feel weird if I post stuff to put up a facade like I'm perfect. Like if I post pictures and have this whole grid and you see me smiling with my family and you see me making a catch in a football game and you see me in a picture with somebody famous and you see another picture of me, you're going to think, oh, this guy got it. He's got it. And I never want to put off that persona because I was like, no, this is a daily grind. Every single day, I'm not going to act like it's easy. And that's why I don't perpetuate or post a quote unquote life that looks like I'm just like this Christian walk is just easy. I'd rather you call me, we can have a conversation. I can show you, hey, this thing's real, but there's nothing better than doing this walk. And so it's been great. I just can't tell you enough about how much just the gospel has been able to shape my career and been able just to keep me on a solid foundation, no matter all the ups and downs. I mean, I moved like 4 times last year, man. I ended last year with the Eagles. I caught a touchdown in the second round of the playoffs in January. I signed with the 49ers in March. I go to OTAs with the 49ers. I moved to San Francisco. Okay? So I'm in San Francisco till June. After June, I leave. I go to D.C. So my wife plays professional soccer in D.C. I train in D.C. there, so I move all my stuff to D.C. Then I move back to San Francisco for training camp in August. I'm in training camp the whole month from August till September. I get cut from the 49ers. I leave. I go back to D.C. Had to move all stuff back to D.C. Then the 49ers signed me again, okay? After 3 weeks, I go back to San Fran. I'm with the 49ers for like four weeks. They cut me again. So then I'm in San Francisco for a week, and this is after my family moves down there, okay? Then the Philadelphia Eagles signed me for 3 weeks. I move up to Philadelphia, move all my stuff to Philadelphia. I played 2 games with the Eagles. I finally move into the place that I'm going to move into, ship both cars, move my wife, my son in. The Eagles released me. After the Eagles released me, I moved to this place in Nashville where we're sitting right now. And at that point, I think I'm done. I'm like, look, I set up the Christmas tree. I go buy presents. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting signed again, you know. And at that point, honestly, I was content. I was like, hey, you know, this is obviously what you have for me, Lord, so it's all good. And we get everything set up. We're chilling. The 49ers call me back. So then I had to move all my stuff back to San Francisco again. And then we're there till the Super Bowl. That was my last year. That was in 1 year. And, you know, if I didn't have the gospel, I would have went off the rails, you know. But that time was still able to be fruitful. I learned a lot of stuff. There were some great parts. There were some high points. There were some low points, but at the same time, we came out of it. Me, my family, we came out of that stronger, and I came out of that, you know, a lot closer to the Lord, and I'm thankful for it. And I was like, wow, God, like if I didn't have all this movement, I wouldn't have the tools right now to go into a class and completely understand what Super Bowl teams look like in 3 different places. And at that time, I was like, I'm way too blessed to be in the hole about getting traded from NFL team. There's so much more work for the gospel that I can be doing. There's a reason why the Lord allowed me to come here. And I end up finding out that reason now because I've got a really close relationship with a guy who plays for the Raiders now. He was a young rookie, and we were able to do a Bible study together. And he said that Bible study meant the world to him, you know, just dive in the word with somebody who was older. But, you know, I just felt like the gospel was able to give me perspective. You know, I don't serve a God who sat on a throne and didn't know what suffering was. He came down and he did the work and he suffered. So I'm like, dude, if he can go through that for me, like I can go through this for somebody else. Look to me continually for help, comfort, and companionship, because I'm always by your side. The briefest glance can connect you with me. When you look to me for help, it flows freely from my presence. This recognition of your need for me in small matters as well as in large ones keep you spiritually alive. When you need comfort, I love to enfold you in my arms. I enable you not only to feel comforted, but also to be a channel through whom I comfort others. Thus you are doubly blessed, because a living channel absorbs some of whatever flows through it. My constant companionship is the peace day resistance, the summit of salvation blessings. No matter what losses you experience in your life, No one can take away this glorious gift. I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from all of my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. This poor man called, and the Lord heard me. He saved him out of all his troubles. Psalm 34, 4-6. Look to the Lord, in his strength seek his face always. Psalm 105, 4. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God. 2 Corinthians 1, 3-4.